Hey there, this is the AI Guy, the channel where we will show you how to use AI to optimize your life. Today, we will be learning about prompt engineering, which is a very important thing to know in order to optimize your use of AI. So, you might be wondering, what exactly is prompt engineering? Here, we have a short quote from IBM on what prompt engineering is. According to IBM, prompt engineering is the process of writing, refining, and optimizing inputs to encourage generative AI systems to create specific high-quality outputs. So what exactly does that definition of prompt engineering mean? First off, let's start with prompting. Prompting is interacting with an AI system through instructions or questions in order to get a desired response. There's not necessarily a perfect way to write a prompt, but rather some general rules or habits to follow, which you will learn about today. The key thing to note is that the better you are at prompting, the more useful AI tools will be to you. Here we have a few very basic prompting tips to follow. First off is to be clear and specific. AI tools perform much better when they know exactly what you want and the way you want it to be done. Second, which goes along with this, is provide instructions. Providing specific instructions about things you want the AI to do, or maybe a specific way you want the response to be formatted, is extremely important. Next is defining constraints. For example, you might have a certain budget you want the tool to follow, or a certain amount of words you want to stay under. Make sure to define your constraints so that the model can meet them. Fourth, if you have them, use examples. These models are much better and more efficient when they have an example to look at. So, if you're doing something like writing a blog, maybe get an example of a blog you've previously written. And lastly, define what format you want the AI to respond with. This is very important so that you can get the desired output which you want. Here we have a few more advanced prompting tips that will take your prompting to the next level. First off, we have using role play. To do this, you can tell the AI what type of role or person you would want it to be. A good example of this is if you're doing calculus problems, it might be good to tell the AI that it should pretend to be a calculus teacher. If you do this for calculus or for any other types of topics, the AI will often perform much better. Second up, we have asking the tool to explain its response. Sometimes AI tools can make things up or say things incorrectly. But when you ask it to explain its response or go through things step by step, it often does a better job at thinking things through and helping you get to the right answer. Next up, we have prompt chaining. Prompt chaining is stringing together multiple prompts in a row to get you to your final desired answer. An example of this might be asking an AI tool to summarize an article for you. After it has summarized that article, you might want to ask it to summarize it down even further into just a few bullet points. Finally, maybe you want to tell your friends about this article, so you can ask it to summarize those bullet points down into just one or two key sentences which you can tell your friends. Prompt chaining allows you to see step by step how an AI tool gets to your final desired answer and often gives you more in-depth and specific responses. Finally, we have iterating and improving. What this means is that after the AI gives you its initial response, you can iterate and ask it new questions or help give it more specific information to improve. For example, maybe you would ask an AI tool to give you some book recommendations, but the ones it gives you don't sound interesting to you. In your next iteration, you could give the AI tool some specific interests like business or finance, and then from there, it will probably give you better answers. Here, I have a few examples for you of what a bad versus good prompt looks like. In the first example, you could have just given an AI tool an article and said summarize this. Although this might give you a decent summary, it probably won't get you to exactly what you want. So instead, you might say something like summarize the following article into 3 concise bullet points suitable for a business presentation. Doing this will get you to your desired response much quicker than just saying summarize this. Next up, we have what should I have for dinner? With this, the AI tool probably has no idea what type of food you have or what type of food you like, and might give you some responses back that don't sound interesting to you. On the right, we have an example of how this could be said in a more detailed fashion to give you a desired response. You are a nutritionist, Suggest a healthy dinner recipe using chicken and vegetables that can be prepared in under 30 minutes. This will help the AI tool to better understand that you would like a recipe with chicken and veggies and that you want it to be done quickly. Lastly, we have math. AI tools are not perfect at math yet, so you do have to be careful with these type of questions. On the left, you'll see a simple question. Solve this math problem. 5x plus 2 equals 12. Now, while the AI tool might answer this correctly, there is still a decent shot that it could be wrong. So with math, it's a good time to ask the AI tool to explain each step. So on the right, we have solve the equation 5x plus 2 equals 17 step by step, explaining each operation. Saying this requires the AI tool to really think through how it wants to answer, and you can also see if any of the steps were done incorrectly. Here we have a very basic framework to follow when prompting an AI tool. First up is the role or explanation of task. This can be done many different ways, but it's probably the most important part. It is very important to tell an AI tool what type of role you would want it to follow or what the specific task it is that it needs to get done. Doing this will allow the tool to be able to better formulate a response for you. Second thing we have here is giving the AI tool specific instructions or examples to follow. If you do have an example, it is very important to put them in, as the AI tool will be able to more closely follow these examples and give you a more similar response. Lastly, we have asking the AI tool to give you a specific format. There's a big difference between something like an essay or a poem, so it's very important to figure out what you would like the format to be and ask the AI tool to give it to you in that specific way. I will now be giving you an example prompt in ChatGPT so that you can see what the difference is between a good and a bad prompt. Here we have ChatGPT, which I will be showing you how to use with a very basic and not so good prompt, and a better detailed prompt. You can see we are asking ChatGPT to write us a travel itinerary to go to Glacier National Park. Let's hit enter and see what it has to say. Right away, you can see that ChatGPT assumed we would want to be in Glacier National Park for 7 days. While maybe we do want to be there a full week, we might not have that long. Also, you can see things like ChatGPT not telling us where to get meals, or maybe not being super specific about where we are staying every day. Although this is a decent itinerary, it might not meet our exact needs, and definitely is not taking full advantage of the tool. Here, we have ChatGPT again, but we have a much better and more specific prompt. You can see that we are asking ChatGPT to be a master travel planner, which in our example is the role we are asking it to be. We've given it some very specific instructions, asking for a 4-day travel itinerary, a budget of $1,500, knowing where to stay, how to get around, etc. We've asked it for a format in terms of making a travel itinerary for a couple. We've even asked it to tell us where it's getting its information from to make sure that it's thinking things through and being more accurate. Let's hit enter and see what it has to say. You can see that right away ChatGPT makes sure to say that this is a 4-day itinerary, including our budget, and telling us where our accommodations will be, what activities we'll do, and how we will get around. You can see that this itinerary is only for 4 days, but it's now a bit more in-depth. It tells us what we're doing in the morning, afternoon, and evening. It's telling us the costs for every single thing, and the estimated costs for each day. In this example, this is much better suited for our need, and is a much better way to do prompting. There are a few key takeaways from this video. First up is that you will not be using AI to its full potential if you do not understand how to correctly prompt engineer. Anyone can go into an AI tool and use them, but understanding how to use them correctly and get them to be efficient is very key. Next up is that it's often better to be specific to what you want rather than generalizing. AI tools perform much better when they know the very specific task at hand and the format that should be done with. Just giving a general question or a general statement often will not perform well. Third, if you do not like the initial response you receive, it's okay to iterate. Sometimes you might just get a response that isn't very helpful or isn't what you're looking for. Iterating from here and adding more specific instructions or a different way you'd like to see the response can often lead to a better result. And lastly, being a good prompt engineer will make you more efficient and valuable, not only professionally, but also personally. Thanks for joining the AI Guy today. The AI Guy is your host for videos on using AI in your daily life. Please be sure to like and subscribe, and thank you for watching.